Melissa, you call roll.
Okay. Thomas Elliott,
Present.
Ron Kramer. Barbara Duffy. Melissa Diner, present. Gail Rogers. Therese.
Definitely present.
Shelley.
And you left him off the list. What's his name?
Yeah, I need to formally do that.
Sriss, I already did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we did agenda. I updated it from what you said. Alright, so we're not on there anymore. Okay. Shelley, seconds. Okay, outstanding minutes. And announcements. So we're going to start with Teresa. The outstanding board minutes are on the agenda.
I just want to make a record of. Oh, you don't want to be on that?
You want them read? Can you read the outstanding board minutes?
They're posted online.
Yeah.
It's just on every
I'll
agenda.
try to read them. I wouldn't hear it anyway,
Yeah.
so I'll just read. I read them and I can't think of any objections.
Okay, so Teresa's going to read a quote from the Venice Beach Boardwalk Coalition.
I did that last month. The one about Bill Rosendahl moving to designate the Venice Beach Boardwalk as a free speech, First Amendment free expression zone.
Right.
And the 2008 ordinance, and there's been no acknowledgement. It was passed by City Council. I don't have any reason to believe it was ever rescinded, so that's its official designation, although it's no longer being referred to by the city in that way.
It's no longer been referred to.
No, in the 2011 ordinance, they didn't say anything about a free expression zone.
So this
They just focused on nominal utility.
So this is not the first time that he tried to.
It was passed. It's just that they no longer acknowledge it as such. I mean, you can do what you want with it. I was going to send it to Melissa. I wasn't planning on reading it again, but it had been designated that. We were talking about.
What were you thinking?
Teresa requested when we did agenda building that there was a part on an announcement. So there was it's okay. I just at the last meeting we were doing agenda building. You said that you had wanted to make an announcement, and I think it was more of a quote that you wanted to share.
More what?
A quote from Abbott Kenny.
No, it was part of the Abbott Kenny deed when the property was deeded from the owners to the cities, then Ocean Park. The board, there are two deeds. One designates the boardwalk, that area that's now the boardwalk, as a pleasure park. And nothing is to be built on it. Nothing is to be laid under it. Nothing, blah, 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 nothing. It's just for people's pleasure, period. Then there was another one where they designated a certain strip to be a sidewalk for pedestrians only. And we've been unable to determine the boundaries of certain areas of it as of yet, but when you go out and you look on the boardwalk on the east side, there's a gray 2-brick line running down the whole length of the boardwalk. That's the eastern border of the boardwalk. If you go out to the bike path and you sweep off the sand, there is a yellow line that runs along the eastern side of the bike path. Those are the confines of the area controlled by Rec and Park. But the boardwalk is from that gray line to, I guess, the 40 feet west.
I thought they reestablished the boardwalk as being up to the property line.
As being what?
Up to the property line.
Reestablished what as being up to the property line?
The park is up to the.
That's the park. I'm talking about the boardwalk, the Ocean Front Walk. What is Ocean Front Walk? Not just the park. The park does go from that line along the bike path to that property line.
Okay, so but what does it mean when you designate something as a free speech zone versus not, versus any other place in the United States? What does that mean to specifically be a free speech zone, Therese?
The way we understood it was no commercial vending.
Wait, who's we?
The people who were out there and who were working with Rosendahl and getting this designation.
The free speech
made.
zone implied
First Amendment protected activity only.
So it implies that not only is it a free speech zone, but there's no commercial vending.
That's right.
Well, that's very interesting. So how do we actually get that quote to
I'll send it to you. It should
But-
be in the
okay.
city. You should be able
okay?
to get it on.
'Cause I think what Melissa was saying was that's what she thought that you were going to actually read to us tonight.
Well, no, she says from the VBC, the Venice Boardwalk Coalition, and that's where I got the quote the first time. You want me to track it down in the city?
Yeah, I like to hear it. I'd like you to read it to us next time, would you?
Can I? You know, on this free expression zone, I looked it up as well, or free speech zone, and my understanding from what was online is a lot of these were designated during the Bush administration, or no, but they were there, but there is vending in certain ones. So is that for sure no vending, or is it just applicable to this
Commercial
one?
vending.
I'm just wondering, in other cities,
Yeah.
okay, so I'm just wondering, in other cities, are they having the same? Does that apply
They're
to?
having the same battle. Just check out New York City.
Okay. Okay.
So, but the whole point is about changing the name of the 4215 from the vending ordinance to something else. The artist ordinance, the performance ordinance, the free speech ordinance, but not the vending ordinance. Isn't that part of where this is all going? Isn't that the idea?
I think there's two things. One is just documents.
Could you speak?
Sure.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
She said, I think there's two things.
Yeah, one was to support what you wanted to do, which was the name change, but the other is there's all these documents floating around that relate to what should be done or what should have been done in the past in pertaining to what is legal and not legal on the boardwalk. And you know a lot of those documents, so those, yes, are great to have, right, in terms of just having those documents available to the public. That was
Yeah. And we're still, I am still working on that.
great.
Okay. So there you go. What makes a free speech zone unique from any other public place on the planet, which is also a free speech zone? Why does a free speech zone? Why does a public place like a sidewalk need to be declared a free speech zone to be a free speech zone? Are you able to hear my questions, Therese?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a question. You don't have to answer it now, but that's a question that I have. Is why does Venice Beach Boardwalk, as a public space, need to be specially declared as a free speech zone versus any public space which is automatically a free speech zone? Right? So that's like the park in Washington D.C.
Right there.
That's question number one.
Free speech.
It already, as far as I would guess, it already is. So I'd love for you to, if you can, research that and come up with an answer for this committee. The second question I have is you're saying that something being declared a free speech zone automatically makes it so that commercial vending is not allowed in the same space as a free speech zone. And I don't understand why, and I'd like it if you could help me understand why. And again, you don't have to answer it now. So you can come back next time with and answer those two questions. Do you think you could do that, or are you prepared to answer them both
Well,
now?
I'm telling you, the implication and the whole point of this was, with the people working with Rosendahl, to make it clear that commercial vending was not welcome on the boardwalk. And you also said that any place on the planet is a free speech zone in your first
No,
statement. Now
United
you may want to retract that. But Tom,
Hang on, let her finish her thought.
that's not true. You can't go onto anybody's private property and
No, I
start
said any
blabbing away.
public space. Any
Well,
public
that
space.
isn't what I heard. So I'll just
No,
leave it at
okay,
that.
I'm sorry, because it's loud, I know.
Corrected it at the second go around, but that's absolutely untrue. And technically, yes, every public space is a free speech zone, but we know that you cannot stand in the middle of the highway and start talking. I mean, you could, but you're going to get run over, and nobody's going to support you.
Pedestrians aren't allowed on freeways. Other than
Okay,
that,
so it's not a public zone then, but it is a public zone.
Private conversation here. And then I think we should move on.
I have a comment for the record too, by the way.
Andy had his hand up.
In relation to
I understand what
Melissa, let me run the meeting.
I understand what the
Okay, let me
question
run the
is,
meeting.
and I absolutely agree that the city did define under some obscure law, whatever that is, that Venice Beach is a free speech zone. Now, what was the intent when this ordinance or whatever passed? And that is a very valid question because, I've always looked at it a little bit outside the norm. Let's phrase it that way. On being a free speech zone. And so where you can stand out there and you can preach Nazism or communism or anything you want to do, it's your right to speak anything you want to speak. Now, where does that limit
Those are the two questions.
because I really respect these guys who are on that side of the boardwalk
Right.
and being in their ability to do what they want to do.
Right. So my whole point is that we
I
have
like it. I think it's cool. I think it's good.
we have to make some definitions.
Define it.
We have to define it. So my question still stands: is how does Rosendahl naming the boardwalk as a free speech zone make it different from any other park, any other public space, any other public forum, any other quorum, any other quad, any other public space in the United States? I'm sorry, not in the universe of the world, but in the United States. I just want to know, what does designating it as such, how does that make it unique and different? I don't know that it does or doesn't. I just want to understand what his designating it as such, what does that do? That's number one. Number two, I want to understand what Teresa's claiming is that by virtue of it being a free speech zone, it automatically means that it's also, in the same breath, not a commercial zone. I just want to have more information on that. So I'm asking Teresa, as one of our board members, if she would please do the research and help us find out why those two things
I think it
exist.
boils back to the intent of the ordinance, not necessarily the word for word or things like that. What is the intent?
Right. And we can certainly get to the bottom.
That opens up the whole. That really opens up Pandora's box.
Gail.
I just want to ask, I've never seen you before in my whole life. Who are you?
I am Andy Lehman. I own Venice Beach Suites and Hotel
Oh, okay.
since 1986. So it is.
Awesome.
I've been around a while.
Anybody else, or shall
And
we
I've
move
seen the
on?
evolution. So
All right, so I wasn't at the last meeting, and when I was looking over the minutes, it said something where you were kind of making changes on the present ordinance, just little things here and there. And when it got to the part that said music, it said music anywhere. That's how I read it. It didn't say anything, it just said music. I don't know what
public
that.
comment at the end.
I don't know what you did last time and I wasn't
There
here.
was a gentleman that came last meeting, and at the end, under public comment, he had comment and he had talked about his concerns of the level of music, and he had raised a concern of the level of music and that music and the amount of musicians, and that they could be anywhere on the east side of the boardwalk. So I just noted that he said that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have very bad reading comprehension, and I saw it as your recommendation of music. So I
Right.
should talk to him.
His complaint was about competing music. He lives at 5 Rows, and there's a lot of music that competes with each other at that north end of the boardwalk, and that was difficult for him in his living environment, overliving the boardwalk. You know, one musician was fine, but 5 was too much for him. So And that's part of our larger picture that we're trying to draw, which is a map of the boardwalk that would hopefully spread musicians out. That's what we're working on doing.
Well, I have
Okay.
okay, this is the ordinance, and I brought a few on page 2. I only have a few copies.
Pull it up.
On page 2, here, let me give it to the chaplain. On page 2,
No, it's about the pagodas.
it says what a pagoda is. You know, one time I called to complain, and they said, "What's a pagoda?" You know, person I spoke to said, "What's a pagoda?" Actually, I learned how to say it in Spanish. It's posada. But they define what a pagoda is. It's a shaded structure. And they mentioned the 4 pagodas: Clubhouse, Breeze, Park, Sunset 5W. Those are the pagodas. Okay. Now, page 9G. Page 9G. Now, it says, okay, 9G says, no persons shall use or obstruct, I'm talking as a resident, on behalf of the residents who live on Walk Street. No person shall use or obstruct access to any city-owned and maintained property. Okay, pagodas, actually you can't, oh here, 10-foot radius. So like where you are,
Right.
it's okay because you're not right in front of the pagoda, you're after a 10-foot radius. Yeah.
What's the radius?
10 foot, it's over here.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
this is in case it protects the residents. And I just like, so I misunderstood that. I thought you were we were going to recommend we no longer have it. Because if I ever call, I can say, I live on a walk street and there's a pagoda at the end of my street and there's amplified music and I can I have something to refer to.
Within how many feet? 10 feet?
That can't be in front. Well, they define it here. They say it's at the end of Walk Street. It's a shaded structure. I gave you a copy.
Yeah, so
And plus the area within a 10-foot radius around each other.
So this is a music reading.
First it defines what it's and here it says music, vending. Yeah, because apparently the vending, according to the Coastal Commission, you're supposed to have free access to the beach and vending in front of these 5 pagodas, events, access.
When they set up the spaces, did they account for that 10 foot?
When they did what?
Sometimes.
but where are you going with it, Liz Gail?
I don't know.
I understand what Gail
What
is
I'm
saying.
saying is I misunderstood.
Yeah, but it's also helpful information because if there are any musicians that are within a 10-foot radius, in order to reduce the level of sound, that's information that they would find beneficial, right? If anyone's there on the sides, they could call the cops.
I'm just speaking for the residents because the wind blows it up.
The sound
It
travels
actually
right out.
gets louder. And we don't live in air conditioned double. We're Venice, so we keep our windows.
All right.
At
I just
times,
misunderstood. I thought you were recommending that there be nothing done. And I read it.
But I think what she's saying.
Thank you, Gail. Excuse me, Melissa. Any other public comments not on the agenda that anybody else would like to make?
Yeah. From Camp I Promise, the homeless resource guide, and filming information from Rec and Park.
we should probably post it.
This is the Rec and Parks map.
Yeah. It's much more, it includes Marina Del Rey and
Had you seen this
Santa
one
Monica.
before?
It's really intense. Yeah. You can go over there in their office.
That is not from Record Park. That map is
It's
a
not
private
theirs, but you can get it in their office.
It's a private map, but you can
private
pick it up
map,
there.
which I think is in the
Which they distribute.
The Venice Beach area.
Yeah. Well, then he also includes, well, thank God for silence, Marina Del Rey and Santa Monica.
Made
Sorry,
by
I did
Nap
not mean to imply it was
Okay. So the point is that this exists along with, several others in the private sector. And one of the things that was one of our things that we're trying to accomplish on this committee is to make sure that the boardwalk is well mapped and currently up to date. And there's a number of different ones that are doing in the private sector, but not necessarily one in the public sector. And the other thing we're looking to do is to help facilitate a map online, a map app, as it were, for Venice Beach.
Tom, you asked me to look into if they had an event calendar over in Brecken Park.
Yeah.
And they have one, but not for public distribution. They don't keep it up to date. They don't have anything available for the public.
That's for the Victor. He does.
what?
Victor from Parks and Rec
Yeah,
does
he
not want.
He doesn't want an events calendar published. There used to be one. It's his doing specifically, and he doesn't want one published.
I went by because someone wanted support in an event that they would like to hold. So I went with them to Parks and Rec, and they said that every year on the 1st of the year, January 1st,
Yeah, January 1st.
you can submit ideas for events and the permits for events. And then they also gave me an 8-page document, which I sent to everyone on Ocean Front Walk, that I'll send to you too, Gary, which has all of the regularly occurring sporting events and all of the events that happen annually, like the bikini contest on 4th of July, etc. So at least we have the few events that happen every year and the sport events, but I got the same answer as you.
And I sent them an email saying, hey, how do you get an event calendar about this?
But the bottom line is that we know that anything that's on their calendar is not going to be publicized anyway, and the whole point is to have events actually available to the public. And so that's the idea behind the MAP app, is that anybody with a smartphone can not only access where stuff is and have it be up-to-date information, but also have events that are up to date. And so that's what we're moving forward towards is bringing this into a non-linear, digital format.
One more comment on that. He also said that he gave me, I got his email, and you can have him add you to your press release list. And he sends out 10 days before, as long as they have the deposit or whatever monies, then he sends out 10 days before a press release about whatever event is happening. So we can have access to the information 10 days before, and I've been asked to be added to the list.
Who said they
the
said
other
that?
reason,
Victor?
Victor's assistant, who also does a lot of the permitting. I'm sorry,
Fred?
Yes.
Fred?
Yes, and what was the other comment? Anyways, he was very helpful and said he'd keep us in
Man,
the
well,
loop.
I have an
But he
event
said
coming
the
up this
reason-
weekend. Did you get a press release about it?
No.
See?
Did you send in a deposit?
Of course, you can't have an event without a
So he's
deposit.
not doing that.
So he's not.
Thank you.
Say why he doesn't want it public?
Nope.
They're
Because
public,
they don't
aren't
have
they?
it. He
Because he
said.
feels like it's not their obligation or something.
No, he just, I'm not going to say. I'll talk to you
So-
after about it.
This is from Evan White, who attends our meetings regularly, who we assigned to the mobile app to. He had a knee surgery this week, so he's unable to attend tonight. But he wrote that the Venice Beach Boardwalk mobile app, he says, I have a mobile team ready to build this, but commitments from prominent businesses as well as the community would be helpful in securing financing to pay for it. We can also create an easy online form for businesses to give info if the committee can help distribute the information to the companies. So that's what we should take up with Evan this week, is how to build a form that we can send to businesses who want to donate to the app.
Linda gave us the information, and Gail, I wanted to ask you about this at the outreach committee meeting. she gave me information to the people who you know who used to hold the meetings at the Sidewalk Cafe, and she said that they have a lot of the business owners and building owners' informations from previous efforts that they made. And then she also said that the visitor impact meetings are held at Jerde. Do you go to those meetings?
They're what kind of meetings?
Yeah, we have visitors impact.
Oh,
Right,
okay.
that's at Jerde. Right, and he said already to me that he would help us create a map once we had those contacts. Matt asked if we would be interested in doing a we'll get to this next, but he asked us if we're interested in doing a town hall, and I said we have to get the information of the people on the boardwalk, everyone, before we're going to do a town hall. So we'll talk about that. But I think Evan, when we talk about it, it's a little premature, right? He needs
maybe.
to come to some of those meetings. We're not just going to build a.
Absolutely. He just wanted to chime in on it because he knew he wasn't going to be here at this meeting because he'd had knee surgery. So,
I've been solid.
yes. Yeah.
As a committee, now I'm new to all this, so is there anything that prevents us from doing like a fundraiser to?
Yeah.
There is. You can't do it.
Not as a committee. Somebody outside of the committee can do a fundraiser and to benefit, the same thing with
Anyone as an individual who's not a city official.
So you can't do it as a member of the Ocean Front Walk Committee, but you can, garner outside support, that can interface with the Ocean Front Walk Committee. So I've got another public comment, which is that I want to apologize for holding the meeting here. I stupidly didn't realize how noisy it was going to be, and I apologize to everybody for that. I would like to ask everybody's help in finding where they would like the July meeting to be. The July meeting is going to be, right around July 4th, I'm sure. That's a crazy busy weekend, so we might want to talk about...
July 1st.
It's July 1st, okay. I can make that date, and I think most people are, the 4th is until the Thursday, so let's shoot for that July 1st date. But if between now and then, if Melissa could circulate an email of ideas for locations for the July Ocean Front Walk meeting, and everybody can contribute their ideas. Therese? Well, it was just not... It wasn't always available. We were having to call every time, and I thought, well, why
we
not
might
do
be
it
able to have it
here?
at one of my
Clearly this-
locations, right at Muscle Beach. Let me wait.
We talked about also, one of the things about having the Ocean Front Walk Committee in different meetings in different places is because this is our strip. To have it held in different places, I think is a good idea, so that we can all get to, familiarize ourselves with a part of the boardwalk that we may not normally go to. So I think it would be a great idea to have
Let me
one
check the calendar.
down towards the paddleball courts. If there's some place that's relatively quiet, relatively white, light, warm, anyway, that's the last public comment. Any other public comments before we move on?
I have to admit that I think it's very terrible that we're in a successful place.
Oh, good.
To have people here to be fighting this battle, it's a great. You see what I'm saying?
Thank you, Harry. I appreciate that. Thank
instead
you.
of sitting in an empty restaurant, to where that's what you hope, that's what you expect.
Yeah.
But to have it with people here, it's great.
But I would like
Cheers,
to add
thank you.
that I'd hope that we would be intelligent enough to know there are more options than an empty, unsuccessful restaurant and a noisy, successful one.
Yeah.
The price is right too.
We'll find it. We'll find it.